question is about disclosures and visions, and what are the potential pitfalls or risks in the disciple missing or overlooking the disclosure or vision because of some expectation about how intense it's supposed to be. So, in other words, what is the disciples? What should the disciples' expectation be as far as intensity? And basically, how can they miss something because they expect it to be more intense than they received?
So basically, manifestations and disclosures and awakened visions are themselves intermediaries. They are veils. They are a cryptid, like a cryptid language. They are signs and symbols to meanings. They are exemplifications of meanings. They are signs telling you things, giving you a message. It's like, when you walk in the street, you see a red light, you know that the red light means stop. When you see green light, you know that the green light means keep driving. The thing is not like, you're not supposed to just look at the light. You're supposed to understand what this sign and symbol means. And so this, let's say, like this green light, it is like if it were a sentence for you, for the one who knows. It's like a sentence. It is like telling you, when you see the light, it's like in your heart you read, keep going. If you see the red, it says like stop. This is the language of signs. This is what they call lughat al-ishara, or like the language of signs. The problem is not looking at the signs and not understanding the signs. Is to see the signs and to hide them from the guide, the one who's supposed to interpret those signs and teach you the meaning of those symbols that you see in your visions, in your disclosures. But the person who goes back to the master and tells them about their disclosures, then those disciples gradually they will build a repertoire of symbols and signs, and they will value them, and they will know the meanings of this language. They will know what the message is behind, and they will value every symbol and every sign they receive in mushahada, in witnessing and disclosures. So all of creation are symbols and signs for us that God talks to us through. But Allah in the Quran has reduced all this multiplicity of signs into one fundamental model. That is, Allah is the light of the heavens and the earth. The exemplification of His light is like a niche. This fourfold exemplification is the fundamental sign and symbol that brings together and unite all the signs of the heavens and the earth. So for you to understand the symbols of the heavens and the earth, you need to start by the symbols of light, the four exemplifications. You need to understand, when you witness the niche, what does that mean? When you witness the star, what does that mean? So you need to understand what every example or every exemplification is telling you. And how would you know that? You need a guide for that. You need someone to tell you what those symbols mean. But if you had no intermediary and no guide to tell you and to translate for you those symbols, then you will just probably say this is light, and you will just disregard it and you will give it no value. It is like having a book that is in a language that you don't understand. This book might contain a lot of good in it, a lot of knowledge in it. But because you don't understand the language within the book, then you won't be able, unless you master the language, you won't be able to access those mysteries, that knowledge, those truths that are hidden within this book that you have. It's not about owning the book. It is about owning the book and being able to decipher its language. So a person disregard something or does not respect something, especially here talking about like the witnessing, only because of their ignorance. If you understood the meaning of the disclosed symbols, then you will treat those symbols as treasures. It is like owning. It is like, let's take the example of a ring with that has a gem in it. Who's the person who know the value of this ring? It is the jeweler. They will value it. They will give it its due care. But a person, but if you give it to a child who's not aware yet of the value of things, then they will play with it and maybe throw it in the garbage, or throw it in the floor, and they wouldn't give it any value. Same way for the spirit. The spirit is a treasure. And for you to access the spirit, you need a spiritual master who has actualized their spirit and know the hidden treasure of the spirit. So the language of we talked about the language of signs, right? So we have we've talked about the three signs: the sign of the star, the moon, and the sun, as described in the story of Ibrahim, the disclosures to Ibrahim, right? Alayhi salam. So the star symbol, it's not only one disclosure, one symbol. It is many. You have many ab'ad, many facets. You have a star with 3 sides. You have a star with 5 sides. You have a star with 7, 9. You can have an infinite number of versions of stars. So for you to understand all these facets, it is difficult. But we can talk about the stars of the prophets. Each prophet has a star associated. So David has the 6 stars. But Prophet Sulaiman has the 5 stars. Those stars are different. The knowledge that's being disclosed through these stars are different. For instance, the star of Sulaiman carries much more knowledge than the star of David. Why? Because in the Quran it is said, we have given Sulaiman the recognition, while David did not have that type of fahm, of understanding that Sulaiman had. I'm paraphrasing. It's not that we are debasing David. David had a lot of knowledge, but Sulaiman had more. It had a larger type of knowledge. This is just for the stars, the symbols of the star, the language of the stars. Now the second type of disclosure is the moon disclosure. The moon has different phases. It goes through 30 phases. There is the crescent, there is the Rabi'a, there is the full moon. So you have many ways to witness the moon, and each one of them is carrying a sign and a language and a knowledge and a science. So you can tell me, to do all the phases of the moon and to learn all the sciences of the moon is gonna take me a long time, and it's gonna be impossible for me to do everything. I would tell you, you would at least take whatever it is decreed for you to learn from the moon through basically like the practices and the disclosures and going back to the Shaykh. Then you have the third type of disclosure, that's the sun disclosure, or like what's called Shams al-Haqiqa, or the sun of truth. When that sun rises in your heart, it rises in different ways. You have the sunrise, you have the duha, in which the sun is like still, it's like, that 10 a.m. sun, 9 a.m., 11 a.m., before it's in the middle of the sky, and then you have the sunset, you have the sun before the sunset, and through all those phases the sun take different luminous colors. So all of these are variations of the symbol of the sun as a disclosure. And this is the same. This is what we talk about as the luminous signs, the luminous language. And you need a companionship to understand those disclosures. It's not just to see the light. Anyone could, maybe witness the light. Maybe if once in their life or sometimes, but they wouldn't understand what they saw. You have to have the disclosure, plus you have to have the companionship of the master to understand the disclosures, the luminous disclosures that you are seeing. And that way, through the training with the master, reporting to the master, understanding from the master, and sitting down with the master, hearing from the master, then you will learn the meanings behind this language of this luminous disclosures. So, for instance, Imam Ghazali, Imam Ghazali, we have something that we call like the triangles of Ghazali. These are famous. Ghazali is famous for those triangles in his like applications, and there is books of Ghazali on that. These triangles, in combinations, you can combine them into like 9 combinations. We also call those, some people call those triangles like the triangles of Adam. Ghazali used them so much in his spiritual applications of the esoteric sciences, to the point they've been associated to him, to the point that people call them the triangles of Ghazali. There is also Buni. Buni talked in his books about like the significations of those, the significance and the symbolism and the language that those signs and those geometric forms are supposed to convey in the spiritual disclosures. But for those who But for those who did not understand this cryptid language, they just did not want to do the work and go in the path and experience disclosure, and they just called this as sihr, as dark black magic. But in reality, for every luminous disclosure there is a meaning, and those mashayikh, those teachers, they they wrote those books to put down and to codify the language of these disclosures, of these geometric luminous visions of those signs. That's why the content of the book Shams al-Ma'arif al-Kubra is different from the type and the content of in the book Shams al-Ma'arif al-Wusta and Sughra. The 3 of them are different because each one of them is talking about and is translating the language of a specific type of science. And this language is only understood by the people who are the people of disclosures, who understand the experience disclosures, and they know what they're about. But like the people who do not understand this, obviously they won't understand it. They wouldn't get what these people are talking about, and the only thing they would do is to treat them as, you know, sorcerers, because these are like codes. These are things to decipher. How do you decipher this language? By having an open heart, by having your innermost secret as being unveiled to you, and through there this knowledge will stream down to you gradually until you yourself, and this door will open to you until you yourself will enter and will be able to read those signs and understand the meanings they carry.